Minuteman gear. This is one of the most important pieces, one of the most important things that you can get squared away to be an effective Minuteman. Hey everybody, this is Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. Cue the intro. Alright, so Minuteman kit. There's a lot of stuff people talk about. People love talking about plates, plate carriers, helmets, NODs, which is night vision. For those who don't know the abbreviation, they talk about defensive tools, all the cool gadgets, all the cool stuff you can put on them. They talk about, multi-cam, all the different kinds of pre-made camouflage, whether it be civilian camouflage or military camouflage, talking about communications, talk about medical, IFACs, all this stuff. There's a lot to it. Talk about patrol packs, all the stuff that goes in it, sustainment packs, all kinds of stuff. Not even getting into the tactical side of stuff, I'm talking about the gear side. All right, so all that stuff has its place. There's a lot of stuff that you can have. If you have multiple setups, then you're probably good. But today I want to talk about one of the most important things I feel that's discussed. It's not talked about enough. To be an effective Minuteman, guerrilla, partisan, freedom fighter, resistance fighter, whatever you want to, whatever terminology you want to use. What is one of the most important things? Most people think mastery of this. True. Also, mastery of everything in here. Your medical. True. But if you want to think about the role of a resistance fighter and how to properly kit for it, well, the thing I'm going to talk about is very important for that. Before I get into what it is, I would like to see if you could please subscribe, ring that notification bell for all, hit that thumbs up, comment on the videos, share the videos, all those kind of things. I'm going to talk about something I made. That's the whole idea of this video. If you want to check out the video how to make it, it's on Patreon. Links in the description below. It's $1 a month. Hundreds and hundreds of videos, good content there, all kinds of stuff. Come over there and join Team AP on Patreon and be one of the cool kids. Okay, so to be an effective partisan, guerrilla warfare, resistance fighter, whatever, stuff like that, one of the most important things, especially if you're in a rural environment, Red Dawn, stuff like that, is camouflage. Camouflage is one of the most important things that you can get squared away that's not expensive and will be more advantageous to you in a lot of situations, more so than plates, plate carriers, helmets, all that kind of stuff. What am I talking about? Am I talking about, multi-cam, fleck-tarn, woodland camouflage? No, I'm not talking about any of those. And I want to talk about the idea of how and why I have it set up and why my method I feel is good and I feel that it may be advantageous to you. Okay, so the role of a resistance fighter. A lot of it's going to be hit and run tactics, stuff like that. And all this stuff, I'll put a little disclaimer in there. Hopefully none of this stuff ever comes about. I mean, I'm talking about warfare in the United States. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't advocate for it. I don't wish for it to happen. I don't want it to happen. I'm not telling you guys that we need to go make it happen. What I am saying is this is important training and knowledge to have if and or when this ever comes about. When you need to be out there in a combative role in the United States. So, let me put the system on and then I'll come back to you. Okay, here's the basis of the system. What is this? This is an assaulter's ghillie. Putting my gloves on so you guys can see fully camouflaged because even your hands, your face is lighter than most of the stuff in your environment. And your skin shines. So a lot of people are like, okay, we'll use face paint. You can, but I'm going to tell you why I wouldn't. Because just wear gloves, you accomplish the same thing. And you don't want like a bunch of like dark colors and then light colors, because the light and the dark contrasts. You want all your colors to be pretty much, you know, subdued, toned down. So this is an assaulter's ghillie. I made this, and like I said, I have the video on YouTube or on Patreon how to do it. I just got a multicam blouse that's 1 to 2 sizes too large for you. I would say go with 2 sizes, because in the winter you're going to layer up more stuff and you still want to be able to use it. So 2 sizes too large. You can see where I cut the sleeves off a little bit, and then what I did is you can see some of the 550 cord here. I tied 550 cord in a grid pattern and then jute it. Like I said, the video's on YouTube. I want to talk about how I have this set up. For one thing I've learned over the years of using this system is you put the chest rig on. What it is here. You can see the back. So it just goes down to like right above my butt, or right about on my butt. You don't want it really any lower than that for an assaulter's ghillie, because you don't want it hanging up on stuff, catching on stuff, getting in the way of stuff. And then what you do is also you cut this center section out so that you can still doesn't interfere with any of your gear. Now this isn't a full-on ghillie, this is an assaulter's ghillie. And so yeah, it incorporates with all your gear, doesn't get in the way of manipulation or anything like that. So one thing I learned over the years was how to use a system like this. So you put your chest rig, plate carrier, whatever it is, on first. Then I sling my rifle. I put the ghillie on over the rifle, because if I have the hood up, which you'll see here in a sec, I'll show it to you in a sec. If you have the hood up and you got the sling on this side coming over, it pulls the hood in. So it defeats the whole purpose of destroying that whole head, face, neck, shoulder interface that's easily recognizable as a human. You want to break that up. You want it to be more of like just a mound, okay? And you're like, okay, well your sling's underneath your ghillie, so now you can't get your rifle off. Well, that's why you have these little buckles. Just pop it off, pull the sling through, and then do whatever you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the ghillie and show you the hood and everything like that. Then I'm going to go into why not camouflage uniform underneath. And this may not even be the best. I probably wouldn't wear gray. I'd probably wear something brown or OD green or something like that underneath it. And I'll show you, I'll get onto that a little bit more. So the hood, you reach back and pull it up. The hood is, I don't know if you can see it here, is some that camouflage netting that I got, and then I put jute over it. So you want to get that interface. See how it destroys the head to neck interface? And then I can bring it down even further. I can still see through this just fine, but you can't really see me. You can kind of see my face through it, but when you're off at a distance, you won't be able to see that. And if I go down, okay, so from here down, I'm not as camouflaged as effectively, correct? Well, what I do is if I'm going to go in the woods or be in a permissive environment like this, I will just, you get yourself low into the environment. I'm also going to do a training lessons learned on this whole subject over on Patreon about the training that me and my guys did today. You'll see this video tomorrow, so it'll be yesterday for you, but yes, I will go into that a little more in detail on Patreon. So if you want to check it out there, like I said, check it out there. So this is a pretty decent setup. And I may possibly have, I think I might have juted this up a little bit more, too much, so I can still pull some of the jute off. But let me, I'll just go right back over there and you can see how effective it is. It's not going to be perfect and you know where I'm at, remember that. But if you didn't know where I was, then you may not be able to see me. That's just a quick little example of how effective it is. And you can also, what I also have for this is I have the hood, but I also have a beanie, just a multi-cam beanie that I tied this, I put this camo netting on and then tied jute to it. So I can also wear this you know, if I'm out patrolling or something like that. I could wear it like this, get these off to the side, and then I can also pull the hood on over that. So that's a good option to have, is a beanie setup. Or I mean, not a beanie, this is a beanie. A boonie, sorry, a boonie hat. My brain sometimes. Okay, but as you see with this hood, you don't necessarily need the boonie hat. Whoop, let me get it, there we go. There we go. All right, so that's pretty effective. And if you're sitting in an ambush situation or some other situation where you're like this, you want to have all this stuff out of your way so that you can see really well. Well then, wear a face covering. I have like a baklava. I have a ATAX FG baklava that I cover, so all you'd pretty much see is my eyes, like that. Why not face paint? A lot of people talk about face paint. In this situation, because of the whole idea behind this system and how I have it, you don't want face paint. The idea behind this setup is I can operate like this. I can go out into the woods and disappear. Then if I'm in an engagement where maybe it goes south, maybe I'm being pursued or something like that, what do I want to do? I want to break line of sight. Why? If they don't have eyes on me, they don't know exactly where I went. Then once I break line of sight, what can I do? First off, my hood was on the whole time, so they haven't seen this beanie. You want to get rid of anything they've already seen and go to something they haven't seen. So, what do? I ditch my ghillie. And then I will ditch this because I'm trying to disappear, and I will ditch this also. Just take it off, hide it in the bushes. Then I will take my gloves off and I'll do the same thing, and then I can just walk into town, right? Dressed like this, just like an average person walking around. I disappear into society so I can make an escape or a getaway if I'm in a situation where things go bad, and voila, I'm just an average guy walking around, you know, doing the things. That's why no face paint, because then you'd have to wipe off all the face paint and stuff like that and get it all off before you get into town, which would take more time. You could do it, yes, but wear like a baklava. There is a time and place maybe for some face paint or some, you know, multicam, woodland camouflage, whatever camouflage you like, ATAX, Cryptech, whatever. But I like having systems like this that I can ditch when I need to disappear into the local population. That's very important for a resistance fighter because things can and will go south on you. They won't go your way necessarily, and you'll have to do that. And then you have all your gear ditched somewhere. If they got dogs out after you, sure, they may find it and you may lose all your gear. I mean, it is what it is, but hopefully you'll be alive. Or what you can do is wait a period of time, cooling off, come back, retrieve your gear, and go fight another day. That's the way I like this setup. And I think it's a good setup, it's effective, and it works very well in my environment. You may want to adjust the or use different jute colors on your what is that? Oh, my glove's hooked to it. You may want to use different colors of jute. And be careful when you're doing this. I talked about it on Patreon. Don't over jute it. This, I need to take a little more jute off of this one. It's actually juted up too much. Because the idea of this also is that you want to use natural vegetation to supplement the jute. This is jute, these little strings and stuff like that. And another note on that, on jute, is get the synthetic stuff, not the natural stuff. Why? Because the natural stuff sometimes is shiny, whereas this isn't. Also, the natural stuff absorbs water. You don't want that, especially if you live in an area like I do in Western Washington, Pacific Northwest. It will make your ghillie suit super heavy and super uncomfortable, and it just won't be as effective. So think about that. Like I said, they make different batches of the different colorations of the ghillie or of the jute. So pick the one that works for your environment, and or maybe have different sets of the jute, because that is just wrapped around the 550 cord strings. I can just pull it all off, put new stuff on if I want to change colors. So I hope you guys like the video. I hope this is useful to you guys. It's very important. I feel that your ability to be camouflaged and to avoid detection will get you the element of surprise that is needed, and or allow you to escape a situation that is going south. So that's very important for the civilian Minuteman, the other M word, the also, you know, resistance fighter, partisan, whatever you want to call it. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day, and blessings to you and yours.